The case between ADR and NewJeans is still far from over, and this time one name has truly ended up at the center of the storm: Danielle Marsh. After months filled with speculation, conflicting statements, and a complicated legal process, clarity has finally begun to emerge. What actually happened, and what does the future hold for NewJeans after this? On December 29, 2025, ADR released an official statement confirming one important fact: Danielle Marsh's exclusive contract had been terminated. However, what needs to be emphasized is this: this was not a unilateral resignation by Danielle. In its statement, ADR said that if Danielle refused to resume activities in accordance with your contract, failed to comply with the court's decision stating that the contract was still valid, and was deemed to have no intention of continuing the working relationship, in legal terms used by the agency, this means ADR concluded that the working relationship had been permanently broken, and because of that, ADR chose an extreme step, terminating the contract and removing Danielle from NewJeans. This decision became a major precedent because Danielle was an active member, her original contract was still valid until around 2029, and NewJeans is one of the most commercially valuable girl groups. In other words, this was not a light decision. Since the announcement, all NewJeans activities no longer include Danielle's name. Promotional assets and the group's long-term plans had to be revised, and for the first time since debut, NewJeans is facing the possibility of a change in group identity. The contract termination turned out not to be the end of the story. Instead, it marked the beginning of the most serious legal chapter in this case. Not long after the decision, ADR filed a civil lawsuit against Danielle Marsh, one member of Danielle's family, and former ADR CEO Min-hee Jin. ADR accused the three of being involved in breach of an exclusive contract, external interference with an artist under contract, and causing massive financial and reputational damage. Shockingly, the value of the lawsuit reached tens of billions of won, more precisely around $30 million. In the lawsuit documents, ADR stated that NewJeans' activities were significantly disrupted, global projects were delayed or canceled, brand partnerships faced uncertainty, and the company's image was damaged in the eyes of investors. ADR also suggested that if Danielle's decision not to return and her attempt to terminate the contract were not made independently but were influenced by other parties, this is why Danielle's family and Min-hee Jin were also drawn into the lawsuit. If the court rules in favor of ADR, Danielle could face an extremely large contract penalty, potentially becoming one of the highest in fourth-generation idol history. This case is no longer about idol versus agency, but a legal battle on an industry-wide scale. Although this case is often referred to as a conflict between NewJeans versus ADR, in reality, each member is in a different position, and these differences highlight just how complex the group's internal situation is. Hani became the first member to openly return to ADR. This decision is seen as a realistic move, respecting the court ruling and protecting her long-term career. Meanwhile, Haerin and Haein had already returned earlier and resumed activities under ADR. Both chose to follow the legal route despite having been in the same emotional conflict. However, one name remains in a gray area: Minji. As of now, Minji is said to still be in the stage of internal discussions, further negotiations, and legal considerations. There has been no official statement on whether she will fully return or take a different path like Danielle. This situation creates a harsh reality that NewJeans is no longer moving as a single voice like they once did. ADR's decision and Danielle's departure have had far-reaching consequences. For NewJeans, the lineup has changed for the first time since 2022. Long-term plans may need to be restructured, the group's identity and music may no longer be the same, and their global image will certainly be affected as the fandom becomes divided. For the K-pop industry, this case has become a major precedent, where artists and trainees are beginning to question contract protection, and agencies will likely tighten control and legal clauses. The impact of this case does not stop in Korea. The conversation surrounding Danielle and NewJeans has even crossed the boundaries of the K-pop industry, reaching one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, mr.beast. A name we might never have imagined being dragged into a K-pop conflict, yet one that appeared right in the middle of the storm. After news of Danielle's contract termination and ADR's lawsuit spread globally, thousands of NewJeans fans flooded the comments sections of Mr.Beast's social media, from TikTok and Instagram to X. The messages were nearly identical. Some asked him to save Danielle. Others said save NewJeans. Some even openly asked MrBeast to buy ADR or even Hybe. Amid the flood of comments, MrBeast finally gave a short response that immediately went viral. "What do I need to do?" A simple sentence with no promises and no official statement, yet enough to stir public attention once again. Many interpreted this response as a sign of concern. However, for others, it appeared to be an honest reaction from someone who was suddenly pulled into a massive conflict that didn't even originate from his own industry. In a casual conversation with YouTuber/streamer Jason the Ween, MrBeast commented on fans asking him to buy ADR or Hybe to save Danielle or NewJeans.
Please buy NewJeans. Please buy NewJeans.
Are they for sale?
He felt the numbers involved were too large and wasn't sure exactly what was being asked of him.
I guess she's in a lawsuit and it's like $30 million and they want me to buy the group.
He also mentioned the possibility of support through crowdfunding or donation campaigns as a more realistic idea than buying a multi-billion-dollar company. So the question now is, will NewJeans rise again with a new formation? Or will this conflict leave long-term scars? One thing is certain. The story of ADR and NewJeans is not over. Write your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya!